Here's the really cool thing I want you to do. I want you to go live your life. Because in all of this, the thing that people forget to talk about is you are still alive right now. And you need to keep living. Welcome to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast, where we talk about homesteading stuff and life stuff and everything in between. Join me, Amy Dingman, as we explore big questions on a little farm. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Farmish Kind of Life podcast. This is episode 269. It is March 4th, 2024. I am saying hello from the unseasonably warm Clucky Dickens farm in central Minnesota. This weather is wild, y'all. And I know it's not just happening in Minnesota. I know it's happening everywhere. If you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, if you're on social media, everybody's talking about how the weather is just so weird. And so regardless of what the weather is doing where you are, I hope you are having a delightful day. What is today's topic? Well, today's topic is the world is ending again. Tough times are coming again. Man, what in the world would we talk about if there was not some kind of apocalyptic chaos to talk about, right? So I'm going to give you my 2 cents and my perspective about all this chaos that's going on and about how to handle all of this. But first, what has been happening on the Lifestead? Well, it might be the weather. It might be this sunshine. It might be this incredibly warm weather that we are having here in central Minnesota. But stuff is kind of kicked into high gear here on the homestead. And by that, I mean, I want to do all the things and I'm making all the plans for the farm this year. Now, you have to be a little bit careful here in Minnesota because we're all talking about how warm it is and how awesome it is. But it's only March. It's only the beginning of March. And y'all, we have had snow all the way into May some years, okay? Like we can get a snowstorm in May. And so we know that we can't go too crazy, right? But it is so warm, you guys. And so it's real hard to look out at the farm and not start dreaming about all the stuff we want to do. Now, this is Minnesota, so we are not having like chick days yet. We're not starting seeds yet. Mostly, I won't start my seeds till probably the end of this month. But we've certainly got other stuff going on. We were going to tap trees this year. And normally our maple syrup season would be just getting going, right? It's when those temperatures are below freezing at night and then above freezing during the day. And we kind of had that freeze-thaw cycle, right? The maple syrup season started so early here, you guys. And I talked to my husband and I'm like, oh, we got to get on this. This is awesome. We're going to tap these trees this year because we were out standing underneath a tree talking to some friends just last week it was. And we're standing under these trees and stuff is dripping on us. And we actually thought it was like birds pooping on us, right? It wasn't birds. What we realized is it was the sap running out of the tree. The sap in the branches above us was just like raining down upon us. And so I was like, oh, we got to tap these trees. Yesterday, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out and we're going to figure out these trees. Y'all, no, the trees are already budding out. This is so incredibly early. And so if we had already tapped, it might be a little bit different. But to start tapping now, when the trees are like, it's spring. I don't know why it was 60 some degrees yesterday. It's spring. Is that the voice my trees would have? I don't even know. Suffice to say, we are going to miss maple syruping again this year. So next year, we are going to tap those maple trees and our box elder trees, and I'm going to be ready next year. Now wait, next year we won't have maple syrup till May or something. It'll be something incredible. You never know what Ma Nature is going to throw at you. What else have we been doing? I started a sourdough starter here at my house. I used to make sourdough all the time when my husband and I were first married back in the days. I think it's the first bread I probably learned how to make. I know that sourdough is kind of having a resurgence. I know it was really big during the COVID times when everybody was at home and trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. And so sourdough became a thing. Again, the sourdough that I hear people talking about is like super fancy and super complicated. It's like a whole thing. Y'all, the sourdough that I used to make was a recipe from the Tightwad Gazette book. And it's super simple, but it includes yeast as kind of a kickstart to get it going. But it's still super simple and it's not complicated. And so I started up another batch of that and I probably will make a video. I'm really excited to have a sourdough starter going again and ready to start making that sourdough bread again. My husband is very excited because sourdough is his favorite and brings back all the memories of those first years of marriage when I would send him sourdough and ham sandwiches, I believe it was, to work. And then there was a guy at work that would always steal them because he wanted homemade bread. So, there's a little story for you. What else? I was on TikTok the other day and I saw that there was a gal who was vacuum sealing flour into mason jars. And I was like, what? It's funny how these things have always been happening and going on, and you just happen to see them. And they're things people have been doing for a long time, and you're like, oh, this new thing. So I was like, oh, hey, that's a cool little contraption, right? This little handheld, like, portable vacuum sealer thing that you stick on top of a jar, and it vacuum seals whatever's in the jar, right? Like dry goods, like flour and, just all sorts of stuff, like rice and various items, right? So I thought, I should get one of those. That would be cool. And then I had this little inkling inside of me. And I said, Amy, I think you already have something that will do that. And so I went searching through the basement, and I do already have something that will do that. It is an attachment that actually goes to the vacuum sealer that I have by way of a hose to a little jar attachment thing that you stick on top of the jar. So it's the same thing that all these cool people are talking about, all the new kids are talking about, but it uses a hose. It's not like portable. So my husband showed me how to use that and showed like the whole process of vacuum sealing a jar. Now we've been vacuum sealing stuff forever, all the meat, and then we put it in the freezer and all that. So like we're all about the vacuum sealer. I've just never done jars before, and for some reason this just slipped my mind, which is weird because I had the attachment in the basement. So I'm going to start vacuum sealing some awesome stuff in jars. So look for more information about that soon. I started a whole hullabaloo on Facebook because I posted a picture of vacuum sealing a jar of water and vacuum sealing a jar of brown sugar, and people freaked out about that. And I had to edit the post to clarify, which I'd already said, but I had to clarify because, sometimes on social media, you got to clarify the things. I had to clarify. Those were just the two things that my husband grabbed quickly to show me the process of how the vacuum sealer works for the jar. I thought we were going to have another oven gate thing going on. That's a whole story for another time. But anyhow, the last thing I want to say before the main topic is that please go to the YouTube channel. Hello to anybody who's listening to this on YouTube. But last week I started uploading long form videos again. I absolutely love making videos. If I make time to make videos, I will make videos, and it makes me very happy because it's back to that like theater thing. I was a theater kid. I grew up in the theater. That was like my life goal was to be in musical theater, and I did a lot of musical theater. And then I met a really tall guy and moved to a farm, and it was great. But so this is a way for me to use those skills. So I really love doing it. I actually love editing videos. And so all of that to say, please head over and check out all the stuff that I'm putting up on YouTube because I'm having a lot of fun with it. And that's what I have to say about that. All right. Heading over to the main topic where we're going to talk about how the world is, yes, once again, ending. And here's what you can do about it. So lately, there has been a kind of influx of questions and messages and emails to me about the state of the world and what I'm doing to prepare for the coming chaos. Okay, and sometimes this is from new followers, but sometimes it's from longtime friends and followers as well. And we are in an election year, so obviously this is something you would expect. It cycles every 4 years, all of this and chaos and drama and all of this. And Amy, what should we do? So I have a couple things that I want to say about this. And some of you are going to be like, yeah, I know that. Some of you are going to be like, I needed to hear that. Some of you are going to be like, I'm going to go listen to a different podcast episode today. But here's the most important thing that I think we need to keep in mind. If you are worried about what's coming, or if you are hanging out with someone who is worried about what's coming, whatever that is, this time we're talking about it. Because 6 months from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, there's always going to be something that we're worried about what's coming. There's always going to be people talking about, here's what's going to happen. My advice and my thoughts about this are not going to change. They have not changed. There are some things that I think you should do if you are worried about what's coming, or you are hanging out with someone who's worried about what's coming. Here are some things you can focus on instead of panicking about whatever's coming, all right? Number one, spend your money wisely, okay? That's a better thing to focus on than panicking about what's coming. Number two, connect with an in-person community. Online is great. In-person is really important if what people are talking about coming is actually going to happen. Like, Knowing people in person is a really good thing. Number 3, if you have some space available, grow and raise some food. That's a good thing to focus on instead of panicking about whatever the thing is right now. Number 4, get some food and some supplies stocked up. And that should be made up of stuff you normally use. If you do not eat rice and beans, don't store rice and beans. That's what I'm saying. Number 5, eat decently and be active. Notice, I did not say, ladies, you need to be a size 4. Fellas, I did not say you need to be able to bench press a house. I am just saying, eat decently most of the time and remember to move your body and do stuff. And number 6, learn some valuable skills. Those are really good things to focus on instead of focusing on whatever people are talking about to be dramatic and crazy and fear-inducing. Focus on the list that I just gave you instead, okay? If you struggle with any of those topics, let me know. Drop me an email, amy@afarmishkindoflife.com. I've probably written a post about that topic, or I've done a podcast about it, or I've done a YouTube video about it. If I haven't, it's a really good one to put on my list to address in the near future. And y'all know me. If I'm going to address a topic, I'm going to do it in probably a calm, straightforward, logical, realistic, but probably also really sassy way, right? That's why you're here. You like my approach and my perspective to things. If there's stuff you want me to talk about as we're going into what, some people are thinking is another crazy time or whatever it is, if there's something you want to know about, drop me a line and I will try to get you the information that you need. There are lots of skills that you can learn to take on. And some of those skills can be a little bit tricky, okay? They're a little bit tricky to take on. And you don't want to attempt to learn those or take those on in the middle of fear and panic or in a situation when you're like, oh my God, I need to know this now. That's not when you want to learn stuff. When your hands are shaking because you're afraid and you're panicking and stressed out, that's not when you want to learn this stuff, okay? So learn it now. Start learning it now. Here's kind of the whole thing that brought this podcast topic up, okay? This next point that I'm going to make. If someone's entire existence is to be paid in either time, attention, or money for the fear or the panic that they instill in you, I want you to drop them. I want you to drop them. I want you to stop listening to them. I want you to stop giving them your attention, your time. Please don't give them any of your money. If the entire reason their page, their business, their YouTube channel, their whatever is to make money off of you or to steal your attention because they want to instill fear or panic in you, those are not the people you should be paying attention to. And you have to be so careful because in election years and in times when people want to talk about how crazy the world is and how terrible things are coming, that's when it is really common for some people to get really caught up in the chaos and realize that they can make a buck off of it. Okay? Now, I am not downplaying chaos because there's always going to be chaos in the world. There are always going to be hard times, okay? And sometimes they're going to be more chaotic and more difficult than others. It just really, really frustrates me that it's become a sales tactic. So people can spend their time and their attention and their money in ways that are often really counterproductive to actually dealing with chaos and hard times. You being glued to the TV or the alternative news website or that certain Telegram group or whatever, you being glued there waiting for the next morsel of drama is not productive. It is not productive to helping your own life be prepared for chaos and hard times. That list that I gave you just a little bit ago, I want you to think about that list. I want you to figure out where you are lacking in that list. I want you to figure out how to make it better. And then you know what I want you to do? I want you to enjoy the fact that you are blessed enough to wake up another day. That's what I want you to do. And you may listen to that list that I gave you, back up and listen to it again if you want to. You may listen to that list and go, I've got all that under control. Awesome. That's great. You may listen to that and be like, pretty good on some of those things, but here's something that I'd really like to focus on. Awesome. Figure out how to make that better. And then go on and live your life. Enjoy the fact that you are blessed enough to wake up another day. Here's something else that I think is really important that people don't talk about when they talk about being prepared. Okay, we always want to talk about food and shelter and water and all that, and those are super important things. But here is something that folks often forget to talk about, is that people react differently to stress. People react differently to life tanks and now, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. And this isn't just the whole like prepper porn fantasy of people get really mad and then they go after each other with super cool looking guns and face paint and apocalypse outfits, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. People react differently to stress and chaos and hard times. And the thing is, you're not going to know how you react to hardcore stress until you go through hardcore stress. You will not know. Your body is a fascinating thing, and it will surprise you. Sometimes in really good ways and sometimes in ways where you just become a crumbling mess. And you're not going to know which you are until it happens. When I think about tough times, I don't really worry about food. I don't really worry about money or stuff like that. And that isn't because I'm sitting on thousands of dollars or like have billions and billions of jars of food stored. I just figure there are ways to be really creative if those things become an issue. So I don't worry as much about those things. What I think the real struggle would be in a really tough time situation is people's mental health and what people do and who they become when they are scared or in trouble or overwhelmed or don't know what to do. And again, that doesn't mean everyone's going on a killing spree, okay? But the person you're depending on to be your rock, if times get tough, what if they can't be your rock? What if the people you thought would be okay aren't? And you're not going to know that until you know that. That's the stuff that I think about when I think about what if tough times are coming, okay? The cool thing is that we all now have this kind of reference point of the pandemic and the shutdowns and all of that happened. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm assuming you lived through 2020 and all of that chaos, right? We all went through that. And was there anyone that in like 2017 was like, there's this thing that's going to happen and you know what's going to be really, really bad? There's going to be a toilet paper shortage. Who knew that was going to be a thing, right? Nobody saw that coming. Who knew that suicide rates were going to go up? I mean, yeah, eventually we figured that out, but that's not something people talked about in the beginning. Who knew that domestic violence was going to go up? Yeah, we talked about it as we got into it, but not in the beginning. That's not what people were preparing for. Who had it on their bingo card, all the snowball effects of being at home all the time, or the snowball effects of what happened to businesses when people had to be home? And all the snowball effects from all of that. Who had that on their bingo card? As we were listening to all the people talk about, here's what's going to happen, and this is coming. This is coming in April. This is coming in June. Here's what you have to prepare for. I want you to do something. I want you to start writing down a list of all the things that people are saying are going to happen so you can look at it in 6 months or 2 years or 10 years. Because here's the thing, no one ever remembers the stuff that people were so jacked up about and so worried about, and they were absolutely sure it was going to happen, but it didn't happen. All those things get swept under the rug, right? And then the next time that there's this really big thing we're supposed to worry about, and this time it's really, really going to happen, we forget about all the millions of other things that were going to happen and didn't happen, right? The way that I see it, this is kind of my gut feeling, or just kind of what I've observed. And I think it probably depends where you hang out and who you're listening to. But the way that I see it, most of the stuff that we're worried about or that's really cool to talk about on the news because it makes a really good drama story and is really good clickbait, most of that stuff doesn't happen. And the stuff that does happen kind of comes out of nowhere. Or it's this, wow, I didn't see that coming. Is that really what we're dealing with right now? Is that really what we're going to go through? I mean, like how many times have we said, wow, that wasn't on my bingo card for this year? Right? So we're all big about being prepared about food and water and shelter and all that, which is really important. But there's so much other stuff, I think, that we could be talking about or that we forget to focus on, I should say. If you want a good read, head over to Wikipedia. I know Wikipedia, but I want you to go to Wikipedia and I want you to Google list of dates predicted for apocalyptic events. And if I remember, I will put the link in the show notes. But otherwise, just go to Wikipedia and look up list of dates predicted for apocalyptic events. Y'all, they've been talking about the apocalypse and the end of the world and all the crazy for ever and ever and ever. This is not the first time that things have been crazy or that people are sure the world is ending or whatever. It's not the first time. It's not even the 100th time. It's probably not even the 1,000th time. Okay? Keep your head on. When you are thinking about all this, and again, you might be someone listening to this podcast episode saying, Amy, you are preaching to the choir. I get it. But we all deal with lots of people. So you may need to put this information in your back pocket or put this perspective in your back pocket to help you deal with someone else who is panicking, okay? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to put yourself in some kind of situation, okay? Think about yourself in some kind of situation, whether that is a job loss or a blizzard or a wildfire or another stay-at-home order or, I don't know, world domination by centipedes, okay? I don't know. And figure out what you actually need to deal with that, both physically and mentally. And I want you to work on that. And whatever it is that you need to be more prepared to deal with whatever that is, it's going to take time, so you need to start now. And I think that's another reason that people get so jacked up about this being prepared thing is because when people talk about being prepared and you should get prepared, they want you to be prepared yesterday, like completely prepared for world annihilation yesterday. And that in and of itself causes panic. You have to start from right now. You have to start from today, and it's going to take time, and it's supposed to take time. I want you to make a list of what you want to do, whatever that is, whatever that thing is to get you prepared for whatever. I want you to make a list of what you want to do, and I want you to figure out the next thing you want to do. What is the very next thing that you're going to do? I don't care if that is saving $50 this week to put in a mason jar that you're hiding somewhere. I don't care if it is learning to save seeds. I don't care if it's looking into alternative energy. I don't care what it is. I want you to work on that next thing, okay? I want you to celebrate your wins, and I want you to find people who will help you learn the skills you want to learn and celebrate with you. And I want you to stay away from the people whose entire purpose is to get you freaked out and panicked so they can sell you something. And then you know what I want you to do? Here's the really cool thing I want you to do. I want you to go live your life. Because in all of this, the thing that people forget to talk about is you are still alive right now. And you need to keep living, okay? Life is awesome. Go live it. All right, there you go. That's my $1.50 for today. Please email me with any topics that you want me to cover here or any skills you want to learn or something you want my perspective on. I am super happy to help you out. I only know what I know, and I don't know what you don't know unless you tell me what you don't know. So please drop me a line at amy@afarmishkindoflife.com or find me on social media. Please share this podcast episode with someone who needs to hear it. And also, go check out my YouTube channel. There should be a link in the show notes, or just head to YouTube and search for A Farmish Kind of Life. There's going to be lots of new videos coming up. I'm super, super excited about it, if you can't tell. And remember, one more thing. The world is a better place with you and chickens in it. So make sure you stick around. Have a great week, and I will talk to you again soon. Hope you enjoyed the show today. To continue the conversation, visit our website at afarmishkindoflife.com. Find A Farmish Kind of Life on social media or drop me an email at amy@afarmishkindoflife.com. Peace, love, and bacon, y'all. Stay farmish.